Alright, welcome back to the Captain Britain showcase. Today we're going to go over the last two acts, the damage and the closure act. And we're starting off the damage act with just a simple damage test, how she does without synergy and with synergy. And a quick disclaimer, this whole video I will not be running the recoil masteries. I know this is a damage section, so you would expect me to have the maximum damage output for her, but I'm not gonna actually rely on the damage from my boosted masteries, like the recoil masteries, for example. I'm going to rely on the damage output from external nodes. We're going to be taking her against nodes that benefit her class, nodes that benefit special attack damage, nodes that she would take advantage of really well. So I feel like I just want to showcase that and not exactly her with the recoil masteries if I already did that in the previous part of the showcase. So that's why I'm not going to be running the recoil masteries today. And honestly, you can also say that she just isn't really good with them. I'm not going to run a full synergy team here in this video. I'm just going to run 2 synergies just to have them. And those 2 synergies alone do not make her recoil friendly. She needs a whole team to be recoil friendly. So that's why I'm not going to be running the recoil masteries today, because I feel like it's just too much of a hassle to make it work, and she's already gonna have enough damage output with the nodes and all that we're gonna be showing her on. So yeah, that's why I'm not running the recoil masteries. And you're gonna see here that without synergy and without the recoil masteries, the damage output could definitely be better. She's not the hardest hitter when she's just by herself and with no mastery help, I do admit, but she is doing better than I thought. I expected much worse, to be honest. But yeah, we dropped this SP2. It does a fair chunk of damage output, to be fair. But yeah, this is the best rotation that I found for a no synergy and no recoil masteries Captain Britain. I did a lot of testing because I wanted to make sure I got the best rotation, and that was it for me. So that was 204. That was pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best time, especially for a mutant character, but it definitely could be worse. And now we're going to go to no recoil masteries and full synergy, though. And this one's really, really nice. I have Horseman, I have Odin's pre-fights. I think they call it a Norseman, a Horseman, Norseman, or whatever. But yeah, so this rotation is the best for if you're not running recoil masteries, because it is her best rotation, right? But you have to spam SP1. And if you have the recoil masteries, you can't do that. So you have to go for the SP3 rotation over there. So that's why I also wanted to not run the recoil masteries, because I'm not getting her maximum damage output if I run them, surprisingly. This is her best rotation, and I can't do it if I'm running the recoil masteries. It's just not practical if I'm running the recoil masteries. But yeah, this is way different. You saw the SP1. The SP1 hit harder than any SP1 in the previous matchup. The damage output is a huge increase. It's honestly surprising how good she's doing when she has her full team with her. And I know it's gonna be obvious that a full team just to make a character good, that's not a good sign at all, but it's just really fun, and it's really nice to have a whole team with her because she performs really, really well with it. So the fight's almost done. We can get one more SP1 and then it'll be over. The SP1 does a nice crit, and yeah, that's it. So that was, the final time was 138. That's a pretty nice difference, I do admit, and that's honestly pretty good, I would say. But now we're going to go test her versus nodes that are made for her class, or just made for characters like her. And this is a prime example. This is the Mutant Path, where every time you trigger a regen buff, you get a Fury, and you trigger a regen buff by throwing a special attack, and you have a better chance of getting the regen buff if you have a Prowess. So that's made for Captain Britain. She has a ton of Prowess, and she does really well for nodes that increase her attack, because that's the thing with Prowess characters. They get a huge benefit from any attack increase, because the special attack damage that they do it doesn't really count as like increased attack rating. It just counts as like increased special attack damage. So when you add bonus attack to it, she just does so well. Like you're gonna see right here, the SP2 that we're about to hit. So I get the heavy attack, and then look at this damage output, man. Didn't crit there, but I crit there, and that was it, man. It is like insane how good she is for these nodes. And now we have a Void. Void is always a hard matchup. I had to plan accordingly for this. Because, Void, you always have to play around his stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna let this one play out, and then I'll see you on the next path. So now we're on this Entropic Prowess Path. I think that's the name. I barely remember these names, but basically the whole premise is you throw a special attack, you get a paradox, and for each paradox you get increased special attack damage. So my thinking was like, she already has a lot of the special attack damage, right? Why don't we just like add more to it? And honestly, it turns out pretty well because apparently if you add more special attack damage to a champ that already has a lot of special attack damage, it just makes a really, really nice result. But the start is always slow because, one, that's just how Captain Britain is, and two, we don't have any paradox charges. So it's going to be a really slow start. The whole matchup is kind of slow because it's King Groot of all people. So, yeah, King Groot, it's always a long matchup unless you have like a long shot or something. But yeah, so also this is Power Reserve, and Power Reserve is really good for Captain Britain because you just need to like SP1 multiple times, and then you like get your prowess up really fast. And also a pro tip, I don't know why I said pro tip, but it's still it's something. King Groot's like mechanic or removes debuffs counts as a purify, so you can just ramp up really fast on King Groot because every time he removes a debuff, you get your prowess and you get your bulwark. So honestly, she's a pretty good King Groot counter, I must say. Just because of that one ability alone. That ability is so good. I loved going over it in part 1 of the showcase. But yeah, this fight is going as well as a King Groot fight can go. Yeah, he's almost down. We're doing a ton of damage now. And now I need to preserve my charges because, as you can see, I'm at 11 of those bad boys. And if I get to my 12th one, I'm kind of doomed. So, yeah, I finished the fight off there. I have 11 charges, so I need to make sure to remember that. But yeah, that was a slow fight for sure. But in all fairness, it was King Groot. And it was like the first fight of the path. And that's always the worst one on a Paradox path. But now, This is the good one. This is the good matchup. We have this Night Thrasher on the same exact node, but now we have 11 charges going into it. And you're going to see, like, off the first SP1, you're going to see, like, the difference. So, we just keep knocking him down to remove some of the charges, because you can have too many. But yeah, look at that. 25k on the last hit on the first SP1. That was like 0 ramp. We had 0 prowess of our own. Like, that's usually what she hits. like when the matchup is about to end. So that's a pretty nice increase, I do admit. And also with Night Thrasher, every time he gets knocked down, he has a chance to purify debuffs. So that's really good for Captain Britain because you get your Bulwark and you get your Prowess. And look at that damage, man. That damage is so good. And he's basically down here. I just need to throw that one more time. We get no crits until the end, and that ends it off with a 57 KSP2. So now we're here on this Foresight and Combo Party node and Ebb and Flow Intercept. I did this path on the first showcase, but I just wanted to show it again without the recoil masteries. And honestly, because like this is a really good test of like damage output from external nodes that doesn't necessarily fit her class. This is just like for any champ. This is a general path. Like in future showcases, I'm probably going to show this path a lot for this act, just because it's like a really, really good example of how some characters benefit from it and how some characters like don't benefit as much. Like Omega Red wouldn't benefit at all here, probably because like he's built off of base damage and all that. But Captain Britain, on the other hand, is doing really, really well so far. I wanted to like showcase the thing she has with her Unstoppable, how like she can use it as an intercept. I think I do that here. It's a really, really cool ability in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, but it kind of slowed down the time for me because like I'm just hitting into his protection. So, oh wait, I get the intercept there, and then I just throw this, and look at that damage. That was just insanity. Then I go for the intercept one more time, and 50 KSP1. So yeah, that was a bit insane. Like obviously she works really, really well with this node. A lot of champs do, but I feel like she is obviously one of the better interactions with this node. Like I said, Omega Red probably doesn't interact too well with the node. Probably other champs that like are built off of base damage. But yeah, this is a really, really fun node. This is like my favorite node. I can play this node all day, man, just because it's really, really entertaining. Especially for like Prowess champs, because Prowess champs for some reason just go absolutely bonkers whenever there's like a node that increases their attack. So yeah, now we're going to go for the first SP2 here after the intercept falls off. And also, fun fact, when the shield goes up, it purifies all debuffs. And so you already know what that means. Purify means Captain Britain gets her stuff early, and it's just a really nice extra ramp up. So honestly, she is one of the better for these nodes because she benefits from the Purify from Ebb and Flow Intercept. So like she genuinely is one of the best options for this node. I'm not like just like making that up. Like she actually is one of the best options. And that was a really, really clean fight as well. And I'm just going to show one more fight on this path. I know I should have only done 2 fights on this path, but I just had to because this one was so fun because it's Daredevil, and Daredevil purifies. So you know what that means. If he purifies, Captain Britain just goes kind of haywire on him. So we get our intercept. And also, fun fact, Daredevil has a lot of physical resistance, but we're all energy damage. So that's just... Captain Britain is such a good counter for him, in my opinion. Probably one of the best counters. Like, I think she is the best Kingpin counter, and I feel like she is the best Daredevil counter as well, if you need a counter for him. He's not the hardest fight. He's more annoying just because of, like, his SP1. Takes, like, 20 years. But, okay, fun fact, I did rank up Daredevil just to have him. Because I think he's fun, but I just wanted to say that I took him up. I don't know if I would make any videos on him, because he's, like, really boring. But I just had to say it. Okay, but now we're like about to throw the biggest SP2 ever. Look at that damage. 98,000. 98. That was just crazy. I had to show that matchup just because of that. So now this is going to be the last path showcase of this act. And this is Cav EQ. I don't know why I'm stalling here so much, but basically it has Biohazard and this mutant node where like you purify all your bleed debuffs on you, everything through a special attack, and you have increased bleed resistance. But the genius that I am, I hit into the block immediately, and you don't get any poison resistance in this node, so you just take all the damage, so that was really smart of me. But yeah, like I said, there's a Fury buff, so of course she's going to go crazy, because that's what all mutant champs do if they have Prowess. They just go absolutely crazy with any attack increase. So yeah, now I'm just building up to my SP2, taking a lot of... I'm not taking any bleed damage, actually, because you have 90% resistance for bleed damage on this node. And also, she has a slow debuff, so the champion doesn't have his unstoppable, so that's really nice as well. But yeah, this fight was really smooth. I really think she works fine for this node. I mean, she's a mutant, so she should. But is she one of the better options for the node? I don't really think so. I feel like there are like better options, especially just like champs that benefit a lot from biohazard. Like, this is a mutant path, but Ghost would just absolutely like wipe the floor with this, you know? It's just like biohazard. You can just bring any double immune champ. It just happens that they want mutants to benefit from it the most. And also, hey Kabam team, who put a void on this path, man? I'm trying to have some fun, and every time I get a bleed on me, I take his damage as well. Like, how is any champ that like doesn't have base bleed immunity supposed to take this node? Like, that's so annoying. I'm trying to showcase a mutant champ, and then they just like drop a void on the path. So that's why I'm taking so much damage output. That's why I'm taking so much damage, because like it's void and I have a bleed debuff on me, so he's gonna do his own passive damage output. So yeah, that's like actually really annoying, but we get the fight down. I didn't even have to throw SP2 there. So yeah, that was really simple. I feel like she's pretty decent for the node. Definitely better options, but she does work for it. And now, last but not least, we are here on this White Magneto boss in 7.2.3. And honestly, this one is a bit disappointing. So this is Special Connoisseur. I think that's how you say it. And this other node where, like, every time you hit him against the wall, you get a Prowess. So I'm like, okay, a lot of Prowess. She has Prowess too. Let's see how they combine. And honestly, I didn't really see a difference, so this is a bit of a waste, but I still want to show it just because I haven't shown a single boss in this whole showcase. And that's kind of on me. I don't know why. I just like, it totally slipped my mind to add some bosses. Maybe I do a part 3 where I just do like a bunch of bosses, but I'd have to like wait a long time because I like have a really, really long list of champs I need to showcase. But yeah, this fight, honestly, it's supposed to be really quick for any mutant champ, but I don't know why. It's just that Captain Britain, she just isn't the best for it. I wouldn't even say she's like too good for this matchup at all, but I still wanted to show it just so I can like show at least like how she does versus like boss health pools and all that. But honestly, she is doing like kind of decent, I guess. Like 21k on the last side of the SP1, it's not too bad. But yeah, now I seen he's throwing that like a madman. Oh my gosh. Here I mess up. I can't get off my heavy attack for the weakness. Actually, no, I do. Let's go. And also, I'm just not critting at all. Like, that was a pretty good crit, 42,000. So yeah, I don't know why she's taking so long. She's doing good damage output. It's just like she's taking a really long time for this matchup. Maybe like a ton of champs actually take long for this matchup, and it's just like because of it's Special Connoisseur, right? So you're doing like no damage except for special attacks, and you don't get your special attacks too often. So maybe like everyone does bad on this matchup, like after thinking about it. So this is probably one of the better times, I would imagine. I feel like this isn't the worst time in the world. Especially if you use like a champ that doesn't have their own prowess for this. That must be terrible. But yeah, this fight's almost over. We build up a lot of our own prowess. So we have 9 of our own prowess, and we have 10 from the node. So this should be a really, really nice SP2. Unless you go, no, I go for the SP1 first. Okay. But, okay, so the next SP2 should be really nice because we're going to have like 12 prowess of our own and probably 10 from the node, I imagine. So, yeah, he's almost down. I didn't check the health pool for this guy, but I imagine it's like a ton, like a metric ton. So, I forgot. I totally whiffed the SP2. And that just, like, I lost so much damage because of that, man. That would have finished him off if I, like, connected all the hits. And that's just, like, a massive time waster. So this fight definitely could have been faster. I could have done so much better on this matchup. And at least she got it down, though. Like, that last SP2 was really nice. That should have been the other one, but I, like, totally whiffed. Alright, this is the final act of the showcase. This is probably going to be the shortest one just because it's not really going to be any gameplay. It's just going to be me saying my final thoughts on the character. And all in all, I really like the character. I feel like she's definitely overshadowed. She was definitely overshadowed by Omega Sentinel, who is just like this monster of a champ. She has prestige, she has damage, she has utility, and like, because she was so hyped, I feel like Captain Britain never got her shot. And after testing her, like, extensively, I feel like she is a good character. But I really feel like her utility is really, really short. But it's really niche, and it can be, like, a really, really good thing for her because she really does become one of the best options for certain matchups just because of her one single piece of utility that is just so good that you cannot ignore it. And this makes me feel like she will have use. That's why I think she is a really good character overall. I feel like she does have a use in the game, and I feel like that's what you need at this point in the game because there's over like 200 characters now, and there are so many champs in this game, so many of them overlap, that it's so hard to give one a shot when there's a champ that just does what they do but better. And I feel like that's not the case with Captain Britain. I feel like no champ deals with Purify better than her because her damage output just like goes through the roof, and she becomes one of the fastest options for nodes that Purify, for champs that Purify, and she becomes one of the safest options because she gets her bulwark up, so she takes like almost no block damage. So I really feel like she is a really good character. I feel like she is a standout champion in those matchups where you can Purify. And like, that's honestly all I can say about her that's like positive, because when you just compare her in a regular scenario where there are no nodes that benefit her or her ability to counter Purify, I feel like she is definitely missing a few things. Her utility outside of the Purify counter is pretty lackluster. She has a pretty good slow. I feel like the slow is her second strong suit, but outside of her strong suit, she has like almost nothing going for her. And that really sucks because I really do like Jack of all trade champs. Like, Gambit is probably one of my favorite champions right now. He does so much. He has a ton of like things. But Captain Britain, on the other hand, doesn't have that many things. But the things she does have, she does really, really well. And so I feel like that's a really good thing to have, just because like I said, there's 200 champs in this game. There are a lot of champs that overlap. You want to have a champion that's like the best at what they do. And Captain Britain is just exactly that. So that's my review of her. I do want to talk about some other things real quick though, like how she does in Battlegrounds. In Battlegrounds, I feel like she has a really solid character because she just counters two of the most annoying champs for me, which is Kingpin and King Groot. She's really good counters for both of them. She does them really, really fast as well. And yeah, I'm just really happy with how she does in Battlegrounds because she's a really reliable character for it. Would I rank her up solely for Battlegrounds? Probably not. I feel like you can go without her in your deck, but she is worth looking into at least. So another thing is, how is she in like act content like I just showcased? How is she in story content and Alliance War? For story content, I think she's really good because you can pick and choose your paths there. Like, let's say Captain Britain is your best character, right? let's say you take her up for like Thronebreaker or something. Would I personally do that? Maybe not, because she's really niche and like you want a good general character for your first rank 3, but you can pick and choose your paths in like Act 6 and stuff and Act 7 and stuff to make sure that you can have the easiest time with her. And for that, for like an easiest time, that's where you pick the notes that like have Purify and all that. And that's what I like about Act content so much, because you can just pick and choose your paths. Like if someone was like completing Act 7, they can just go for all the Purify paths and just like completely wipe it with Captain Britain, you know? So I feel like she's really good for Act content, like in the nodes where she shines. But now I want to talk about like how she is in Alliance War, and my answer for that is I don't think she is good for Alliance War, because there are no paths that like have purified mechanics except for Conflictor, but you also got to think about the opponents that are on that path. Mystic Dispersion is running rampant right now. It's gonna end soon, but the node after that is probably even worse for Captain Britain. It's a conduit, so you just regen like all the energy damage taken, and she is an energy damage only champion. So I feel like she will not have Respawn in Alliance War for a very long time, which is unfortunate, because for like I'd say the top 5, top 10% of the game, that is one of the strongest game modes, if not battlegrounds. So at least she has use in one of the 2 modes, but she just really doesn't have a place in Alliance War at all. And I feel like that's very problematic for some people that are just looking to rank up for that most specifically. But all in all, I feel like she's a really good champ. Does she need her sig ability? In my opinion, she does not need the sig ability. It just makes her even better for Purify lanes, because she like becomes this absolute massive tank when it comes to just like taking blocked hits. Recoil Masteries, I do not suggest them on her unless you can run a full team. Then by all means go for it, because that's probably her best damage output, her best like form of damage, her best team, her best setup is with the Recoil Masteries and a full team. But if you can't do that, then I highly suggest running a full team and no Recoil Masteries, because that is her second best option. She's so good as a horseman and a Norseman. And I think that's about everything I wanted to cover about Captain Britain on this closure act. Sorry if I'm talking too fast. I just want to make sure this is like as short as possible. But yeah, if I were to give her like a ranking, I would say she is like an on a scale of like F to SS, you know, like how they do the standard tier listings, I'd give her an A or a B, one of those two. I'd give her like a B plus, because outside of what she does the best, she is really, really like lackluster. But the fact that she does some things like the best is where you really need to take that into consideration, and that's where you really give her like a good place in whatever ranking you're doing. So I guess the final question is, would I suggest ranking up this character? I honestly would. If you have a high roster, if you have a really developed roster already, and you're looking to fill some niches, she is definitely a great rank up. I feel like she can definitely provide a lot to a already packed roster. And yeah, I feel like if this is like your first rank 3, then no, I would not rank up Captain Britain. But if this is like your 30th or something, then by all means I would, because she fills a really nice niche, and she is a pretty good character overall in my opinion. But yeah, I probably repeated a lot of things there, so that's on me, but I just had to make sure that what I was thinking was like fully covered. And yeah, that wraps up the whole showcase. My first one in a very long time, but I think I did decent enough, especially given my limited time these days. But yeah, that's about it for me.